A recent guest on public radio talked about how people use repeated ways of talking about things in an effort to try to influence how people think of those issues, what they called engineering our norms. The idea is, if you repeat something often enough, people will come to believe it, especially if they trust you, even when it may not be true. The story made me think about the water quality debate here in Iowa and how there are a number of questionable claims that people are trying to get the public to believe. In other words, engineering our norms. This is Professor Neil Hamilton from the Drake University Agricultural Law Center with today's Our Water, Our Land. Here are 3 examples of norms that I think people are trying to engineer. The first one is that the nutrient reduction strategy is already proving successful in helping clean up our water. People make this claim based on the fact that more meetings are being held, more people say they've heard about the nutrient reduction strategy, and more cover crops have been planted. Well, these are all good steps, but they don't do anything to actually prove that water quality is getting better. In fact, we do very little to test our water quality. Supporters of the nutrient reduction strategy say, well, it's too early to expect results, and we just need to give it more time. But recent studies show that in the 5 years that the nutrient reduction strategy has been in place, the amount of nutrients being exported from Iowa's rivers has increased significantly. And the nutrient reduction strategy remains hampered by a lack of funding and any real plan for implementation. A second norm that has already successfully been engineered concerns WOTUS, or the Waters of the United States rule under the Clean Water Act. This EPA rule was required to deal with uncertainty created by a series of U.S. Supreme Court cases. The rule involves drawing the lines between where federal jurisdiction over rivers and streams ends and state jurisdiction resumes. The rule has been savagely attacked by agricultural groups and others since the EPA issued it. They claim that it's the largest land grab in the history of the nation. But this claim is patently false. There is nothing in the new WOTUS rules that would significantly affect agriculture. In fact, most agricultural practices are exempt from the application of the Clean Water Act. But this hasn't stopped people from attacking the WOTUS rules, and in fact, they may have won the day because most members of the public, including politicians who are now running ads, believe that the WOTUS rules are a threat to the future of agriculture, when they really aren't. A third norm that some people are working very hard to try to engineer concerns the state acquisition of more public land. The claim is that the state acquiring land for public use is somehow evil, and that it's a threat to the future of agriculture, and something Iowa can't afford and that Iowans don't need. As we discussed in a past episode concerning the fact we are all landowners, Iowa does not have too much public land. In fact, we have very little. Iowa ranks 47th in the nation in the smallest amount of land owned to be used by the public. Whether for public hunting and wildlife areas, for county parks, or trails for biking and hiking, having more public land will improve the quality of life for Iowans and attract people to move here or come back home. The point is, when you hear someone making a claim about some issue, stop for a moment and think about whether that's really true. Learn more about it and come to your own opinion. Sure, there are organizations and people that you trust, but at the same time, we have to recognize that people may be making claims to forward their own political agenda or to protect some type of economic interest. The same is true for these Our Waters, Our Land. I don't expect you to agree with everything that I might say, but my hope is that these commentaries can help us have a more honest and open discussion about the issues we face here in Iowa in protecting our water and our land. This is Professor Neil Hamilton from the Drake University Agricultural Law Center with Our Water, Our Land.